The principle of addition is how all the forces in the swing get added together to deliver as much force as possible into the ball while feeling as little effort as possible. If you've ever hit a home run where it felt like you hardly swung, or if you felt that extra acceleration of your bat without the extra effort, that is the principle of addition at work in your swing. If we look up here at Maglio Ordonez and Sean Green at Heel Plant, you can see that their hips have gone into rotation. And for the purpose of this illustration, and to keep it simple, let's say that their hips are now traveling at 20 miles per hour. And if we look at this gap between their back elbow and their back hip, we call this separation. And if we move forward in their swing, you'll see that that separation will disappear, and the speed of the elbow and the hands will get added to the speed of the hips. Let's say that the speed of the elbow adds 20 miles per hour. Now if we move further forward in our swing, you'll see that the major leaguers will release the head of the bat into the ball. And let's say that that adds 20 miles per hour to our swing. So the net result is a 60-mile-an-hour swing where any one part of our body has only felt the effort of 20 miles per hour. A 60-mile-an-hour swing with the effort of 20. The actual speed of these individual parts, the hips, the elbow, and the release of the bat, are like your gears. The better they work together, and the faster the individual parts are, the more powerful and effortless your swing will be. What amazes most people about our major leaguers is how effortless and easy they make hitting look. That's the power of addition. To see how well you're using this principle, go to the lesson on connection.
Connection is the position in our swing where our hands pass in front of our back shoulder. This is the position that we look at to see how well the forces in our swing are getting added together. At connection, we want to see that we are maintaining our leverage or angle in our bat, ready to release it later on in our swing. We also want to see at this point in our swing that our hands, our elbow, and the stripe of our pants are all lining up, showing an efficient connection of our upper body with our lower body. If we are in the proper position at this point in our swing, our elbow and our hands can accelerate past our hips, and we can release the angle of the bat into the ball, producing the most powerful and effortless swing we can. Bat lag is the position when the bat is just entering the strike zone. You'll notice that the bat is fairly parallel to the ground, and that the weight has already been shifted into the front side. And an important thing to notice is that the hands are out in front of their center of gravity. We would always want to hammer a nail out in front, where we're strong. This is really what they mean by getting behind the ball, or getting your weight behind it. From bat lag through extension, you'll notice that the bat will release underneath their hands and down the line of the pitch. So the whole time that the bat is in the strike zone, they're in a strong position. When we talk about release, we're talking about the releasing of the angle of the bat just prior to contact with the ball. We release the head of the bat into the ball very much like we would release the head of a hammer into a nail. All the energy and forces have already been built up at this point in the swing. And the only thing we need to do is release those forces with proper timing to make solid contact with the ball. Releasing too early or too late will reduce the amount of force being delivered into the ball. Remember, it is the angle in the bat and the forward movement of the hands that creates this whipping action in the bat. The hands and wrists really just become a hinge at this point in our swing. The hands and wrists do not generate the power in the swing, they release it. Just like we would never force the head of a hammer into a nail, we don't want to try to force the head of the bat to the ball, or roll our wrists in an attempt to get the head of the bat to the ball faster. Release is not a strength issue. It's more of a rhythm and timing issue. With proper release, it should feel like a smooth, fluid acceleration of the bat throughout the strike zone. This target view gives us a great illustration of Sammy Sosa releasing the head of the bat into the ball. You can see that the angles are getting larger as he approaches contact. In fact, at this point in the swing, you can see all that energy that is built up in the swing, and you can tell that the bat is going to accelerate into the ball almost all by itself from this point on. It's almost an effortless release of the bat into the ball through extension. In this example, Luis Gonzalez gives us a great example of literally releasing the head of the bat through the ball on this home run swing. If we zoom in on his hands, you'll notice that as he approaches contact, his top hand will open up and the bat will release out into his fingertips. Now, he is not letting go, but he is letting the whipping action take over. We do not have to open up our hand like Luis Gonzalez, but we do want the bat to release out into the fingertips. In fact, if we do not release it out towards the fingertips, we'll feel the impact in the back of our hand or between our forefinger and our thumb. And that generally means that we are forcing the head of the bat into the ball rather than releasing it, or we are pushing the bat through the strike zone rather than swinging it or whipping it through the strike zone. In fact, it is a really good sign that when we hardly feel the impact of the bat in the ball, because that generally means that we are releasing the head of the bat through the ball very well. In this example, we've zoomed in on Manny Ramirez to illustrate how well he releases the head of the bat into the ball just prior to contact. In this illustration, we've used the math section of our analysis system to measure the distance the bottom hand travels in the last frame prior to contact versus how far the head of the bat travels during that same frame. You can see that Manny Ramirez releases the head of the bat very well into the ball. In fact, the head of the bat is traveling about 7 times farther than his bottom hand. This is a good illustration of the whipping action or the effortless acceleration that we've been talking about.